introduce a leader who's reshaping how the next generation approaches leadership, career development, and professional growth. Zachary Cochran is the award winning founder of Cochran Coaching LLC, one of Maryland's premier millennial led professional development firms. Since founding his company in 2017, Zachary has been helping individuals and organizations find a better way forward through thoughtful, conversation based coaching that inspires clarity, purpose, and action. His work spans leadership development, executive and business coaching, corporate training, and career design. He's especially known for his work with millennial leaders and business owners, as well as for creating custom leadership programs that improve team performance, boost retention, and unlock potential within organizations. Zachary is also a skilled facilitator, having led peer advisory groups, board retreats, and training sessions in both corporate and academic spaces. From high school classrooms to CEO roundtables, he meets leaders and learners where they are and helps them to get where they want to go. He's a two-time Young Professional of the Year honoree, recognized by both the BWI Business Partnership and the Howard County Chamber for his service, innovation, and impact on the business community. And I will also note that he is a long-term client of SML, and we are so happy and grateful that we get to support him. Please join me in welcoming Zachary Cochran.
Well, thank you so much, Marty. That was such a kind introduction. I'm really grateful to be here with you. And thank you for just platforming me and giving me an opportunity to share more about why I do the work that I do, what it is that I have going on these days, and even share some of my story of how I got there. And I just want to thank you as well for the support that you've been over, the last roughly 4 years that we've been working together. Your team has been incredible. Truly, I am at a place now where I'm like, I can't go without SML. I can't do what I do. So please don't go anywhere because it's I've come to really rely on your support and to find it incredibly valuable. So yeah, that is a thank you to you for that as well. So about me, Zachary Cochran, I am the founder and coach at Cochran Coaching LLC, and Marnie, you did a great job of just sort of like covering really a good, accurate picture of what I do and have been doing. One of the things that I like to share as I kind of have a conversation with folks is why I do what I do, and it's sort of from Simon Sinek's concept of starting with why. And I believe in helping you to find a better way. I have that sort of improver archetype that he talks about. And it is just something I find myself doing as a continuous learner, as someone who's trying to lead himself and grow and become better as a professional and as a person. It's something that I do sort of because it just is like my way of looking at the world and really exciting for me to improve things. And so I try to also be of service to my clients. So in the context of my business, Cochran Coaching LLC, which is now 7, almost 8 years old, I have been trying to support the flourishing of my clients and helping them to thrive. And specifically, I work with learners and leaders. So anyone who is coachable is a good candidate for coaching. And anyone who's driven to support their own leadership growth and their own internal, leadership. That's a really great example of someone who is, just a great candidate for me to work with. And my passion and part of why I got into this is because I thought, I want to see young professionals flourish. And as a young professional myself, I struggled to figure it out. I struggled to figure out what my career path would look like. A little bit of background on me and my journey to becoming a business owner. So I started supporting others with coaching informally and unofficially after I graduated college and found that some of my friends were struggling to find jobs and to land those jobs. And so while I was not doing career coaching as a career, I was doing different jobs in different industries, but I found that I'd kind of developed an ability to kind of coach people through that process and help them to land the job. And so I thought, at some point I was like, I'm not really currently enjoying the like intensive job that I'm doing. There are parts of it that I love and a lot that just doesn't feel like it's helping me to realize my potential. So in late 2016, I thought, okay, what can I do differently so that by this time next year, I'm doing something that I love doing, and I'm on a trajectory to really take control of my career and to drive it in a direction that helps me to reach my potential. And so I thought about it, considered a couple different things, but what kind of kept coming up was, here I've been helping my friends land jobs informally, and then why not do that full time as a career coach? And so I started my business, Cochran Coaching LLC, in September 2017. And I thought, this is great. I'm going to be able to support other young professionals, maybe who are a little, younger than me, and help them to kind of get started faster. And this also kind of is a deep seated value of mine, is development, right? Developing myself, developing others. And it also comes from a place of wanting to invest in others, both because I think it's important for us to invest in ourselves. And also, it's something that as a young professional, I didn't get the level of investment in me from others that I had hoped I would be able to receive. And I found that's somewhat of a common story. In fact, in my second job out of college, it was a really cool advertising technology company. We were in Times Square, so New York City, fast paced, fast growing. And, for those who like this, beer on tap after five every day, ping pongs, dress whatever you want to, kind of like, that youthful vibe. And at the time, the company was run by a 34-year-old. So again, that kind of makes sense. And they decided as they grew to open up a leadership development program. And a lot of us were like asked to apply, and a lot of us were really excited about this idea that we might be able to get into this program. And so they opened up the application. Out of 150 people in the company, I think 102 applied for this. And of course, they had 12 slots. And so at the end of the day, many of us, myself included, despite having put our best effort forward to be recognized, to do a great application, I even remember like doing a video entry to like stand out. Um, I was told by the chief people officer, hey, you had a great application, but it just wasn't quite at the level that, we could say yes to you. And a lot of it came down to, I wasn't a manager of people, and most of the people who were invited into that program were people managers. And of course, that's an incredibly strategic place to invest in the next generation of leaders. And yet it left many of us as young professionals, most of us were young professionals at the company, feeling left out and like we didn't have a place, or we weren't being invested in the same way. And so now that experience sticks with me. It's one of probably many different stories I could tell about ways that I, as a young professional, experienced that, like, man, I wish someone would invest in me. And yeah, I was very proactive about that. I sought out mentors. And that's part of what led me to even launching the businesses, having a conversation with a mentor. He showed me a skills assessment. I took it. Turns out the skills assessment pointed me toward being a career coach. I was like, wow, this is validating. This is exactly what I was thinking. I seem to have the skills for this. And sure enough, I'm now still doing it over, half my career later. And so, that said, that brought me to the place of starting the business, and the passion around that, again, supporting young professionals and investing in them. And I know that coaching is an incredibly powerful experience, not only because I've been a coach for so long and I've seen the effects on my clients, but as any good, coach would do, I also have coaches that coach me. And I've learned from them, and I've learned through having the conversational context of coaching to be able to benefit from that. And so, if you're a young professional and you're listening, I'm going to share some of kind of my heart and my passion around this, specifically in terms of the services that I've created, not necessarily to sell you, but to let you know that there is opportunity here if you're like me, trying to find ways to invest in yourself more deeply. And to do that, let me just share sort of what I've been doing over the last 7 years in my career. It's shifted a little bit. I started as a career coach, and I realized pretty quickly, if I do a really good job with folks, then I'm working myself out of a job very quickly because they are getting the job, and then great, thanks for helping me out. See you never, right? And so, that's fine. That's actually an ideal scenario for the client. But as a business model, doesn't really work very well sustainably unless you have a huge marketing funnel and you're just getting a ton of influx of clients that way. And I wasn't. I didn't have even though I'd done some marketing, I didn't have that level of marketing skills. And even though I'd done a minor amount of sales through the two retail jobs, restaurant job, in high school, college, and beyond. Uh, Again, my sales skills weren't up to snuff either. So I realized, okay, like I kind of need to go after bigger clients and more recurring clients. So I shifted my model to work primarily with organizations or sponsoring organizations that might say, hey, we have these, 5 to 10 employees that are managers that need leadership development. Can you work with them in a one-on-one coaching context? So ironically, very similar to that thing I was trying to get into several years back, I was now, basically creating that context within companies for others. And that's kind of goes to the custom leadership development programs that Marnie you referenced. It's the work that I do is custom to the person and to the organization. And I think one of the things that not everyone understands about coaching is it's not about giving advice. Coaching is very much driving forward a conversation through the questions that you ask, because the belief is that the answers are already in the room. And my advice doesn't really matter because I'm not living your life. You have to decide how you're going to live, what you're going to do. And so anything that we can do to help you kind of have a conversation and tease that out, right, is going to give you the clarity that you need to succeed professionally and personally, and the pathway that you can take the steps along to get toward your goals.
Yeah, because sometimes it's hard to hear. That's what you mean. You have to be coachable. Like, this information is going to come to you. You need to take a deep breath and process it, because eventually it will help you move forward. You just
Yep.
it is challenging sometimes, but it's so worth it at the end. That
Right.
self-reflection and improvement, it's awesome.
Right. Right. And as business owners, right, like we get it. Like we have such incredible challenges that we're dealing with every day. We were just talking about some of those before we went live, right? Like this is an experience that we have where we have to be continuous learners. And now, not every person is in that place where they're ready to be reflective or they're ready to, engage in a coaching relationship, even if they are coachable. I know for me, in the season of my career, when I was in my third job, so right before starting my business, there was a time when I was just had a lot going on in my personal life, and I just needed to like show up at work, get my work done, and like that was good enough. And I didn't have a lot of capacity for growing, professionally in that season. And so that's fine. Not everyone's in a season where they're ready to engage with some of that internal work of becoming a better leader of self and of others. And so, for me, I really, you can sense hopefully the energy in my voice on this. Like, I really enjoy and love these types of conversations with clients and the work that I do. Again, I believe in helping others find a better way. And then I do that through the conversations that I hold with them. And functionally, that means I sit within an umbrella of what I'd call professional development, where, I do career coaching still, but primarily focus more on leadership development through trainings and through coaching and business coaching. Oftentimes with startup business owners, occasionally with more mature business owners who really need a reflective partner. And oftentimes I've found I stand out in this space of coaching because, based on the statistics I've seen, about 90% of coaches in North America are actually Gen X and boomers. Very few, maybe 10%, are millennials and younger. And so for folks who are interested in working with a millennial coach, right, I already stand out as sort of a rarity in that regard. And that's partly due to a lot of people find it's a great retirement career as coaching, and they can take the experiences that they've had and turn that into, now I'm an executive coach and that type of thing. I think that's wonderful. But for those of us who care about coaching and who are younger, for me, I started my coaching business when I was in my late 20s. And so I thought, hey, like this will be great. I'll get some clients. Of course, found out, no one wants to hire a life coach with no life experience. So it took me some time to find kind of my niche and the types of folks that I really work with. And because of my passion around supporting young professionals, I found that I work really well with, young professional, maybe new managers or even individual contributors who are just getting started in their career, but who want that space to kind of work through what it is that they're trying to figure out. And so all that to say, coaching is pretty expensive. It can definitely run from, I say, coaching rates are oftentimes $75 on the super low end to more like 150, 200, maybe on the low, but affordable end, up to executive coaching gets to 400, $500 and more. And for my rates, I'm probably somewhere in the middle there. I try to use a sliding scale to make it accessible. But one of the things I've noticed that I can do, and this goes to maybe the direction that I'm trying to go now in my career, is that I would just like to have uh, not just an individual across the screen from me, but groups. And so this is the sort of evolution of my business, is trying to find a way in which to bring multiple young professionals together during 1 hour so that they can learn from one another as I'm functioning as that coach. And this gives them an opportunity, whether they're managers or again, entry level or individual contributors, that they would have the context where they're meeting with peers, they're learning as they go through a weekly virtual coaching experience. And it really creates a great way for them to invest in themselves on a weekly basis. And this is the kind of program that I wish I had had access to, 5, 10, 15 years ago. And it's something that didn't really exist. And even as I've looked around the market, I'm just not seeing anything like this really existing. And so my hope is, that if you're listening to this today or the recording of this, if you're interested in learning more about what it looks like to be a part of a leadership development program as a young professional who wants to advance and continue to grow in their career, this is something that possibly your company could sponsor you for, and you would have maybe a professional development budget. And I can work with you to help you get that and help you advocate for yourself as a part of the coaching work that we do. But also, I would invite you to explore it. I actually have on my website some details. That's CochranCoachingLLC.com. Details about the program. It's the group coaching programs that I'm running, as well as if you go to my LinkedIn profile, you'll see that, especially my company page, Cochran Coaching LLC, which thank you, Marney, your team is helping me to post there. That's where you'll see a bunch of videos about me talking about these groups. And I'm building a YouTube playlist right now that talks about what the group is. And in fact, there's even a pilot that I just ran last month to give people an actual picture of what it might feel like to be in this group context. And so, I'd really encourage you and invite you, if you're interested, take a look into that. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, send me a message. I would be interested to have a conversation with you. In fact, best way to connect with me might be you just go on my website. On my contact page, I have a scheduling tool where you can either take 15 minutes for a phone call or 15 minutes for a Zoom. And right there, we'll be able to set up some time and chat about it. Or again, if you're on that group coaching program page, you click that button to schedule with me, and that'll give us a little more time. That gives us about 30 minutes to have this conversation. So whether you're a young professional and you're interested in having this, experience for yourself, or you're hearing me in this and you're thinking, wow, I have a direct report or someone in my life that would really benefit from this, again, I would invite you to the next step is just start a conversation. Very much no pressure. It needs to be the right fit. I'm looking to build a really positive, supportive community culture. And so, it may depend on where you're at, if I'll even accept you into the program. But that said, I am looking actively to build that program. I've opened up a wait list. And as soon as we get to critical mass on both those groups, I'll be launching those ideally as soon as later this month, and probably also in the fall.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing. Thank you so much, Zachary. I mean, even I learned some things that are new, and I don't know, I might have to contact you myself, is what I mean. So that was amazing. And I want to encourage everyone to connect with Zachary in regards to this, because you will not be disappointed. You will you will be flourishing in no time. Thank you so much, Zachary. And I hope to see everyone again on our next Mind Your Business with SML. Bye, everyone.